Welcome back. Even though it's been warm in some places that should be cold, it is January after all. And if it's January, that means the Oscars can't be that far away now. And in fact, we learn the nominees later this month. This year looks particularly promising for the very active George Clooney. He's being mentioned, at least, as a nominee in several categories, among them a possible shot at Best Actor.
Well, that's not like her at all. She's usually very sweet.
In The Descendants, set in Hawaii, Clooney portrayed a bewildered father trying to communicate with his family after his wife has a tragic accident.
Hey, could you two just cool it when you're around me? Just stop touching each other.
Also in 2011, in the film The Ides of March, Clooney played a presidential candidate who has to decide what lines he will or won't cross to win the election.
Well, I don't believe in extortion. I don't believe in tying myself to you for the next 8 years.
4 years. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
George Clooney not only directed The Ides of March, he co-produced and co-wrote the film. And we sat down this morning in the cushy confines of the Sony Pictures screening room here in New York. Talk to me about your the great discovery that viewers of The Descendants saw. Shailene Woodley is, what, all of 19?
19 years old. I don't like her.
I'm sorry that we weren't good enough for you, especially Dad.
Stop it. That's out of line. She's quite a talent. As time goes on, she will be hiring me later.
Where did she come from?
I don't know, and I don't care. It makes me angry, because I was 19 once, and I didn't have that talent.
Mostly what you did this year is highlight the difficulty in running while wearing flip-flops.
I did do that. Alexander Payne, the director, just said, you know, I'm going to run downhill and put you in flip-flops. And I thought, okay, well, I kind of know what you want, even though he didn't say it out loud. So I started running like a goose. And then he laughed. And the minute he laughed behind the camera, I knew that I was going to have to do it about 40 more times. And it was going to get more and more humiliating as the time went on.
Because they put you in really nice-looking clothing throughout the film.
Whenever you can get those khakis up high, yeah, and tuck the Hawaiian shirt in.
Yeah.
That's a good look.
And your political thriller this year was a very important project to you. Mm-hmm. I saw it in this theater.
That's right, in this theater. I was very interested in politics. My father ran for Congress, and I'd spent about 4 months working on a show called K Street in D.C. and shared an office with James Carville and Mary Madeline and Michael Deaver and some really fun, nutty people. And I thought that it would be an interesting story to talk about how you elect people.
Is there an office you go to?
Yes, I have an office.
You have, like, mundane get-me-coffee office hours?
I get my own coffee. Sorry, not all of us are Brian Williams. Look, I grew up doing some really crappy jobs over the years. You know, I sold ladies' shoes. That's a tough job. I know it doesn't sound tough, but women are crazy with their feet. I sold insurance door to door.
It's a whole different interview right there.
That's fun.
You have a strong internal gyro. You know whether you've done good work or bad work. Mm-hmm. How much validation do you receive from awards? Because you're likely about to have a very robust award season.
Well, who knows? But, you know, what you do know is, here's the thing. It isn't what I do for a living. I don't try to collect awards for a living.
I had heard you do.
I collect other things for a living, and we'll talk about that later. But I don't necessarily remember who's won what award when. I do remember films. You know, I remember 1976, which is a perfect year to talk about films because it was Taxi Driver, All the President's Men, Network, Bound for Glory, and Rocky were the 5 films nominated. I am a fan of movies, and so my job is to try to make films that last longer than an opening weekend. And then if someone's nice to you at the end of the year, and they've been nice and they've been mean, my job is to try to make films that I think are entertaining.
And along with everything else, he has a satellite at his disposal in his other life of charitable efforts overseas like Darfur. A while back, Clooney and some others came up with the idea to use a satellite to monitor for atrocities in southern Sudan. He told me today he spends 1 to 2 hours of each workday on his work in that part of his life with time off to make movies and go to award shows.